guys, now I am pissed. I am fucking pissed. This is the fourth damn time I'm trying to record this, so hopefully this actually works. If it doesn't work, I'm not trying to record it never again. Okay, so this video is going to be what if Bakugo Katsuki and Izukumi Doria were the consecutive sons, separate consecutive sons, direct sons of Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju. Obviously, the way this is going to go, Mitsuki, well, yeah, Mitsuki is going, before she met whatever his name is, I don't remember, is going to be with Mother, and Inko is obviously going to be sent Hashirama after she met Hisashi and after Hisashi left. Um, before she meets with Hashirama, she actually had a child with Hisashi. His name is Izanagami. Sorry. His quirk is going to be pyrokinesis, as Izanagami is currently 4 years old, whilst Inko Izanagami left with Hisashi. Hisashi took Izanagami under the full custody of him, as Inko moved to America alongside her best friend Mitsuki, and that's when they met two guys in a bar. These guys were heroes, as these they would have gotten to get to, they after their first conversation they got to know each other more and more. Months would pass, eventually an entire year would pass, as Hashirama would have gotten quite the liking to Inko, and Inko would have gotten quite the admiration towards Hashirama. A year would pass, they would have gotten married, and 3 months after they got married, Mitsuki would have gotten married as alongside with Madara, because they found both of their personalities blended with one another. They knew about they also knew everything about Madara and Hashirama, as as directly 6 months after both of them got married, well, to be more exact, it would have been 3 months. Let's just put it as that. 6 months, both of them got married at around the same time. Yes, 6 months after Mitsuki got married, both Inko and Mitsuki got pregnant at the same time, both of them having expecting boys. And Mitsuki would have been proud, hoping that her son would have grown to be quite a strong man, and she also knew that there is a 50% chance that her son wouldn't have inherited a quirk because of Madara and the fact that he uses ninjutsu and all of that. But she didn't really bother with that. Just thought as long as she had a son, she would have been glad. As long as everything would have gone well, her son would be lively. Her son would have and she also hoped that her son would have actually inherited most of her attributes, because she thought she was very. Let's be honest, Mitsuki is very beautiful. She and Mother kind of was conflicted on that fact, that Mother she wanted Mitsuki wanted the fact that her son to inherit everything after her, and Madara felt left out. Madara was pretty pissy of that. As with Inko also knew about the fact that her son wouldn't. There is a 50% chance that her son wouldn't have inherited a quirk, as she wasn't quite worried with that, because she knew about the fact that her quirk was quite weak. As when Madara would when sorry when Hashirama would have eh, when Hashirama would have heard she contemplating about that, Hashirama would have gotten a bit a bit worried. So what he did was that he performed what he did was that after 3 months into the pregnancy, both Hashirama and Mits both Hashirama and Madara told them on another fact about another thing, brought up a topic that they spoke of, tailed beast and Jinchuriki, as as both Hashirama and Madara were thinking about the same thing. Now what would happen is that they told them that if their son failed if their son fails to if their sons fail to become having a quirk, what they are going to do is that they're going to play a they're going to place a time lapse seal into their sons, which would seal the consecutive tailed beast into them. As both Mitsuki and Inko would have to think of that, and they would say that if they're going to become Jinchurikis, then both their sons would have been quite powerful. As as both Mitsuki and Inko would have said, then okay, but how will this work? As Hashirama and Madara would say, during labor, they are both going to place the sealing jutsu onto them, and then the chakra from the tail beast chakra from the sealing jutsu will then begin to seep into the boys, both ensuring that they will be born healthily, and also ensuring that they will actually have a power. As what will happen is that Midoriya would have each and every single one of the tail beasts in him, as whilst Bakugo would have the 10 tails, but he will not have the white skin and all of that and stuff. It will be like a chakra mode for him after he gains control over the 10 tails. So, we time skip approximately 9 months. Both parents were in labor, but Mitsuki gave birth first. While during labor, the during labor, the Tentel's coffin seal was placed onto Mitsuki, whilst Mitsuki could actually feel a surging amount of power and a surging amount of enhancement into her explosion core, as eventually she'd feel that power beginning to seep and leak out of her into an appendage. It would begin to seep out of her body, as the mother would then notice that everything is going quite as planned. The tentacles would then be placed into Bakugo, as the tentacles would then feed Bakugo chakra due to the type of coffin seal that was used. The tentacles chakra then being fed into Bakugo's body, actually making sure everything was perfect, that he wasn't born without any missing factor or anything. As we then cut off to the next day, as Inko herself would have then been placed, would have then gone through labor, as she would two different as three different seals would be have used on Inko. The steel shock seal, the 8 tetragram seal, and also the 5 prong seal. The reason for that triple layered seal was in order to make sure everything was perfect, and that the combination of all these steel beads did not create the tentacles, as it would have been overwhelming for Inko. As we skip to 4 years, the boys would be greatest of friends, and they're actually in America right now, not in well, I think I said that already. As the boys would have been greatest of friends, as Inko and Mitsuki would still be great friends, as the boys would have now been 4 years old, as they would have been taken to the quirk doctor, as both Mitsuki and Inko wouldn't have been worried about anything, as they knew what doesn't matter if they inherited a quirk or not. They know that their kids will still be able to become heroes as they really wish to. As Madara and now, quick fact: Madara and Hashirama are known technically worldwide. They are technically much more. They're known to be technically much more powerful than All Might, and their combination attacks are unstoppable. The singular attacks alone are deadly, and it's everyone thought that they were siblings or distant siblings, and which branched off as due to the fact of their last names. As oh my, oh, as the boys as they went to the doctor would say that it's I'm sorry, mom, but it looks like your sons don't have a quirk. But there is this factor in them that although they don't have the genetics for a quirk, they have the genetics of what complements a quirk to be born. Like the life force energy, as both Inko and Mitsuki would have heard life force, they would have known what the doctor was speaking of right away. As they would cut him off short, and then they would say, "Oh, don't worry, it's okay, that's okay, we're all right with this." As Bakugo and Midoriya would have been bummed out as to the fact that both of their moms did not like what they saw was that their moms didn't really care about the fact that they were sad. As they would leave the office into as they leave the office, as they would head into Ingo, as they'd head into Mitsuki's vehicle, as both of the boys were quite sad, as both Inko and Mitsuki looked at themselves and started to chuckle. As both of the boys would ask, "What are you chuckling at? None of us have a quirk," as they said. "It's okay, sweetie. You should know that daddy is quite both of your you should know that both of your fathers are quite powerful. And the reason why you did not inherit a quirk is that our quirk was too weak compared to your father's power." As the both of the boys As both of the boys' eyes would begin to glitter and say, "So does that mean we inherited Papa's power?" As both Inko and Mitsuki said, "Technically yes, technically no." As they'd ask why, and they'd say, "When we reach home, we shall explain." As the time skip after the car ride at home, both both of them are living in there. Both Inko, as both Inko and Mitsuki lives at the same, like they rented hotel like hotel like building due to the fact that both Hashirama and Madara are quite rich and stuff. They both went inside as both of them ran in as they went straight to hug their fathers who were waiting at home for them. As they asked, "So tell me, kiddos, what happened today?" As both of them would then say that actually both of us are quirkless, but then mommy said something about you can inherit you guys' powers. As oh god, as yes, as both Hashirama and Madara would really suffer chuckle as Bakugo would then say, "Hey, what you laughing at, huh? What you laughing at? I'm pretty sure if we inherited your power, we could kick your ass." As Madara watched Bakugo and say, as Madara would just watch Bakugo and release of an even louder chuckle, as tears would then begin to well up in Izuku's eye as Hashirama would look at him and then say, "Hey, don't worry, kiddo, don't cry, don't cry." What Uncle is trying to say Well, what Uncle was meant to say is that yes, you are capable of inheriting our power, but not easily as you'll think. As then, both of them will tell them, "Why don't you guys go up and clean? Why don't you guys go up and clean and get ready for dinner? Tomorrow we shall begin your guys' training." As we time skip to the next day, as they would have gone down to training into a facility where they trained. As Hashirama and both Madara would clasp their hands together and then say release. As both Bakugo and Midoriya would feel a sudden surge of power into their body uh, as the delayed sealing technique would have been released off, and they could feel the presence of other beings into their body, but they weren't capable of sensing it. As they'd ask, "What is the meaning of this?" As Hashirama would go on to explain in Bakugo, wait, no, sorry, it's supposed to be Katsuki, sorry, Katsuki, my boy. You see, the thing is that both your uncle and I placed a precaution on top of both of your bodies, and we presume that's the reason they didn't actually inherit a quirk. You see, the thing is that there is this thing known as Jinjurikis until the beast. As Midoriya would have gone and say, "Oh, I know what these are." As Bakugo would say, "Really?" Katsuki would go and say, "Really, Deku?" As you go, "Yeah, Daddy always used to tell me about them." As Hashirama would really stuff a little chuckle and says, "Ha ha ha, that's my boy." Oh god, shit, fuck. Ah, fuck. That's my boy. As they would go on to explain what Jinjurikis are and what tail beasts are, as Bakugo would then say, what you're trying to say is that we are those Jinchurikis and we got these monster-like things inside of us, as Madara would go and say that they were not actually monsters, but in a where we back in our time they were known as monsters, but they were not really monsters. As yeah, yeah, whatever you say, uncle. As With time skip to there are currently four. With time skip to where they're on their 14th birthday. They have actually grasped a good concept of the tailed beast, as both of them would have built great bonds with the tailed beast, and both Bakugo and Jubi would have found both Katsuki and Jubi would have built a great bond with each other, whilst Midoriya is still having a little is still is still having a little struggle with Kurama, because Kurama finds him to be weak and pettish, even though he's capable of using wood style and so on and so forth. Due to the fact that he acts, due to the fact that he's sort of shy and stuff, they still have a great bond with each other. But Kurama still likes to bug him around and stuff. Still thinks he's weak and stuff, that he should work on that. It would be his greatest downfall. As the other tailed beast would always be there to comfort him, whilst Kurama would always show the tough love. As since it's on the 14th birthday, they all their 14th birthday, they all had one wish. The gift, one wish was for them to head back to where their moms were from in order to train. Everyone knew that when they turned 8, the world, the fact that both Madara and Hashirama had a child became known to the world, and popularity began to rise high scotched with them. Everyone expected big things from them. As yes, Bakugo will already have the Rinnegan, he will actually have both, and Midoriya would have already had perfect Sage mode. So yes, so they'll then head that. As for the gift, Madara and Hashirama would bring up would give them a small envelope. As they think, really, what is it this time? As they open the envelope, it would have an apart. As they would open the envelope, well, it would be one envelope. As they open the envelope would have two keys in it, and also two tickets, plain tickets. As they go, wait, what the hell is going on? As both Mother and Hashirama would say, well, you guys have always been wanting to go to Japan, right? And also, you guys always wanted to become heroes. And we also know that you guys do not want to be heroes in our shadows. You guys want to become your own heroes, right? If I believe correctly. As Bakugo, hell yeah, you know that right. As Hashirama would then go on to say, typical Katsuki. What's that, woman? Don't worry about it, Katsuki, don't worry about it. As Madara would then finish off saying that this these are both these tickets are one-way flight tickets. There is no need to worry, one-way flight tickets. These tickets are for you guys to go to Japan, and these keys are an apartment for you guys. Well, these keys are a manor for you guys. Both of you guys will be staying with each other. The same way you guys were raised as siblings, you guys will be staying with each other still up until the point you are ready to branch off on your own. And also, and also, you guys will be heading to UA. One wrong move, and I'm looking at you, Mr. Katsuki Uchiha. One wrong move, and I shall personally release my full armored Susanoo, my full bodied Susanoo, and I shall fly to Japan and get you. As Katsuki, a little shiver would run down Katsuki's back and say, yeah, 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 don't worry about it, old man, I will not do any nonsense. As the next day they would have packed up and then they would head to the airport. And that's where we're going to end it. And don't forget, if you guys like, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please, I love it. Love you guys. Bye.